at their pace, they're at the level, they're happy, they're in their zone. They're in, what's that meme? It's like, in my lane, moisturized, having a good time, unbothered. That's Liquid right now.
You've lost me.
I need Jenna here. She'll get it.
Right.
but Fenix, we know that there's this capability. We know that there's this expectation. It can come alive here, and I guess it has to. They're starting on their defenses, so very early on, I think we're going to get a taste of how this is going to go. They've got to get some of these early rounds.
Mm-hmm. It's always a tough thing to compare two teams who have never played each other before.
They have. On this map.
Oh, did they?
Once.
Oh, yes. Yes, they did.
Said it. Yeah, once they played.
And it was in Oregon, wasn't it?
It was Oregon. It was 3-7.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's already scary signs.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Oh, yeah. 100%. That is like this huge worry because it's something where, it's Liquid's choice. They know they've been successful here before. We've already said and commented on the fact that they're playing, very well-controlled Siege. They're playing sort of well-paced Siege, and they're not stressed. And here, they're now on their, in a way, home turf, home territory, bagged a win, one away from getting themselves to Mexico.
So, Oregon. One of the most, I think, basic maps that we can ever have in Siege. Yeah? So simple to understand. Bomb sites, very, very easy. And one thing I love about Oregon as well is that every bomb site is playable, which for me is always a great thing from a viewer perspective, is that really any site can come out anytime, and you can definitely see defenders win on it. I don't know if Fenix are too well-rounded in all four. I know that usually teams will either have their third bomb site being meeting and dining, meeting kitchen or kitchen dining, either or. It's very rare you would find a team well-rounded at all four, but whenever you do, they're a team that you should fear.
Yeah, and I think, if you're looking at Oregon as well, it's a sort of map and it's a name that's synonymous with Comp. It was the site of many sort of Heartwinds and Fells before it had its changes. It's become a little bit more solidified. In terms of the map itself, sure, I think the only real flirtation that we've seen in terms of developing Oregon over the past split across the world's play is the taller extensions inside the middle, inside meeting. People have looked to sort of have E-Box hatch open, and they've gone, okay, well, let's explore a little bit.
Meeting walls, yeah.
Yeah. And, I feel like Fenix aren't going to run with those too much because they're well aware that this approach from Liquid has been so solid. There's the start. There's a drone. There's Bope just sort of slipping away there.
I thought he was going to swing with a super shorty, but no, decides to back off. Very lucky as well, because Sexy Cake with that C70 would have riddled him with a bunch of shots and easily would have killed him. I don't know if this shotgun can kill somebody at that range, like just instantly. I don't know the damage output, because I don't really use it all that often. Mostly because Mozzie lost his a long time ago.
I remember the days of the Mozzie with the super shorty and the damage that could be done. Are they aware of that? Low player finds one, finds two. Sexy Cake on the tear. The default still up, but did not care. They drove through the opening two bodies there, took both of them out of the picture.
Very, very rough right now for Fenix, losing two players inside of Freezer. I mean, they've double stacked to at least guarantee one kill, and both of them have lost the engagements. That's the kind of stuff that will cost you rounds, and against a team like Liquid, they flourish in those situations. If you give Liquid an inch, you've gave them a mile.
I think that's the big worry as well, is we knew entirely what the game was. We saw the drone come around the corner. Palu gets one from the hatch, pulls their way down. Zigmas has found his way in and amongst the meat of the site. Hit by an air jab, though, and Moringa's able to get the pickup. Leaves just morphed alone in elbow. Finds the first, cannot find the second, and Liquid built on the back of a behemoth, taking control, cool as you like, inside of a freezer, and finding a double. Both of them were prepared for the engagement, but I'm heavily reminded of the end, or in a way the start of Star Wars, where Darth Vader just sort of charges through the corridor and takes care of all the rebels. You know that scene?
Oh, yes.
That's Sexy Cake
Rogue One.
in that moment.
You don't have to ask me about Star Wars.
No,
I know all too much.
Good.
All too much. But, I mean, what can you say? A pummeling round for Liquid. Sexy Cake, having those 2 kills, there should have been a trade. And that was it. There should have been a trade if they had gotten away with a 4-4. I think it would have been alright. Nothing really to worry about. But losing 2 players in Freezer, it puts a lot of pressure on the remaining 3. And from there, Liquid just play their Siege, playing it safe, finding their kills. From there, they take an easy round.
It's the worry. I said what we need to see from Fenix is early. They could sort of get themselves to an even half, but I think most of that has to come from the earlier half, because if it doesn't, it's only going to sort of slip further and further away from them. You know, it's just that bit of a concern, because what we hyped them up about as well was their gun skill, was their ability to sort of take fights, and they lost a 2 versus 1 where they'd entirely... It's not that they weren't aware the fight was coming, because they set themselves up and let that drone hit them and didn't move for the sole purpose of expecting that fight. It's unfortunate, but unfortunate leads to demoralized, and demoralized leads to more of those incidents happening.
Yep. Liquid. Gonna be bringing a Capitao. Sexy Cake. Switching up his operator choice. Capitao. I think strong. It's a strong operator, but pretty underpicked, I feel, in the current meta. I think that the gadget is very, very strong, but there has to be a specific time where he can be used. And whenever he is used effectively in the right scenarios, it will give you guaranteed kills.
Yeah. And I think, sure, obviously, he dropped off a load when the Wamai change sort of came, and you know, the change to the meta sort of came through, but since then, he's been able to pick himself back up. Talking of Sexy Cake, finds another entrance. That's the 3rd different player.
Was that just a window bang? You just spray for the barricade and get him? Oh, I hope not, because if that's the case, then unlucky morphed. We haven't done a morph pun yet, which we'll try and get in, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I say we've got time. We might not have a lot of time. We'll do our best to try and slip one in. For now, they've been able to slip themselves in, get that trophy control a little bit. Trophy becomes a massive battleground. You've got to try and clear some of the utility from Attic, especially if they're trying to loop things over the top. There is a C4 that's in the pocket of Luxor. You've got to try and force some attention elsewhere. It's going to be a bit of a push up here. That's one way. Take care of this. Oh no, it was a Banshee.
Still a good position, though, for Ness to clear out. And now that he knows that White Stairs is clear... Oh, the impact trick not working. Next Garrus's will be opened up. But yeah, like I said, that White Stairs is going to give Nesk a free ticket right up to be able to get a kill onto Bope. And again, Nesk easily drops back. And he's just going to wait for the rest of his team to get in position. And then they're all going to strike at one time. This is the thing about this bomb site for kids, is if you don't have that early control... and you don't have that man advantage from a defensive perspective, there are way too many angles that you just cannot watch all at the same time. You know, looking at the take right now for Liquid, we're having one push up White Stairs, we're having Trophy Door be pressured, we're going to have the Breach be pressured, looks to be a rotate over to maybe what, double window, maybe the Kids repel, looks to be a Kids repel. So many angles now that Fenix have to worry about, and there's no way they're going to deal with all of them.
Well, there's a Capitao that gets caught out by the discs. Nesk is trying to find the head behind the chassis. What a bit of a glory run by Luxor. Slips past somehow. Gets into a bit of a new dangerous position so they can try and swing around and apply the pressure onto the foosball table. 20 seconds. Still a C4 in pocket as well, and they've got to start trying to drive it. Oh no, wait, there it goes, and it doesn't quite get what it wanted to on the top of White Stairs. Nesk needs to survive up there to try and cause as much drama as possible. As the swing comes round, they sort of give their life away, and while the confrontation happens in their favor, there's the swing onto the final. Well, my Liquid left themselves not much time, but the positioning is what paid off in the end.
Yeah, Paulu, I think rotating the double window was a great play. Then you're having one guy from Trophy, one guy from Breach, one guy from Wyatt, one guy from double window, and that's just where all the crossfires, it will win you the round just down to man advantage. That's exactly what Liquid had, is they had those 2 opening kills. Sure, it was a little bit scrappy. I don't think the execute was as clean to Liquid's standard, but they still had enough men to see them over the finish line. So, yeah, I think Liquid having those opening kills, Fenix giving them away very early on, and right now, Fenix, this is the position you do not want to be in. You're up against Liquid, who already have momentum from the last map. You've now gave them a 2-round momentum on Oregon.
All right, Phoenix. This is a bit of a
Come on,
dicey
Phoenix.
situation. You're rallying behind them because we know what they're capable of. They were able to prove that in the opening half of Villa. They were able to sort of show their skill, and it was built on their attacks, which had otherwise been their weakest part in their play. Their defenses were creative, they were aggressive, and here they just don't seem... If I'm going to say that Liquid didn't seem ready for where the push was coming from, here Phoenix seemed ready for where the push is coming from, but not for the sheer force of the push. The amount of utility that's being driven through them, you sort of want to look to the potential of the Wamai being a little bit more malleable, maybe even doing some, you know, big cojones plays and picking up shields and going for rotations and trying to respond to Liquid in more solid ways.
I'm sad. I am sad, Fluke. It's Phoenix. I had really hoped they'd come in here and gave us a great game of Siege, which they can still totally do 2-0.
Yeah.
It's only 2 rounds. It definitely is. But honestly, if you have watched Phoenix throughout this week and how they've played, you will know that they are much, much better than what they have shown us. Like, 100% they are much, much better. And I know they have it in them, and I know that they're going to show us. I know they're going to show us.
Well, this is very dangerous. It's not quite able to see the spider. There it is. I'm assuming
The
they just
spider.
Yeah, I
Is it a lot more crab-like, perhaps?
Yeah, but it's Mozzie. He's Aussie.
And
Yeah.
of course, that is the home of spiders.
Yeah. Oh, goodbye. That's the top of tower.
Home of C4s.
Not the home of Nesk. As he's entirely taken out there quite early. You lose, obviously, your Zoth. There's a lot of charges to get through some of what is otherwise in front of them. They still have a lot of potential. They have a sledge for any of the castles if they want to get themselves close enough. They have more than enough to burn any ADSs that just don't exist this time, this round. So it's actually a very different play style here, and they're probably wanting to, I guess, see what they can do with those grenades in the hands of Parley.
That was the response that we wanted, Fluke, from Phoenix, is a little bit more aggression. Have that opening pick, and they've got that opening pick, a very strong one. It's Nesk, who has been a very strong performer for Liquid in this series, so you have to give credit to how they've been able to go out of their way and know the kind of route, I think, of how Liquid were going to take that big tower, so they've clearly done their research and know what Liquid they like to go for on their primary, like, big tower side attack, where they'll take in towards big tower, move their way across to meeting, and then finally execute down onto the bomb site. This is going to be a blue take, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Liquid to take control of blue, take control of elbow and pillar, but they'll have a much easier time of an execute. Whereas Freezer take, which is what they went for last time, it's a lot more difficult to execute on, but very easy to gain control, which I think is what Sexicate showed us the last time they attacked this.
Well, there's the expectations for ADSs to have to burn round. They threw them, but there's obviously nobody there. There's, a bit of an escape from Mozzie last second as the pressure starts to come through. The canister is able to cover some of the movement. Look how aggressive they are inside E-Box, holding the angle, sprayed through your own man, but got the kill and the lockdown in the meantime. Picks the diffuser back up.
Hello?
There's the gift of the hyper-aggressive body. Parlu's just seen a sliver of one more. Hasn't died as of yet, so it's more than happy. But you've got 10 seconds. You've got a diffuser, and you've got a 2 versus 2 situation. All Phoenix have to do is try and hold in. It's a 1 versus 1. The body is all the way by the pillar. Parlu is going to try and get himself stuck round as Luxor comes around the corner and gets the finish for their first round.
Phoenix respond their first round in quite a while in this series. They win it just by the skin off the clock. But I think, Luke, Phoenix have showed us that if they have the opening pick, Liquid, they don't have that man advantage that they just steamroll. If you put Liquid at that back foot, we still know Liquid can win rounds, even if it's, 1v4, 1v3, whatever it is. But it gives Phoenix a much more fighting chance than what they've had previously.
It's still this worrying early game, though. I think that's the main thing, is sometimes these rounds happen, and you expect Liquid to also step themselves up. You need Phoenix to, I guess, expect that as well, and try and double down, try and respond to it. As I've sort of highlighted, I want to see a little bit more of that mobile aggression. I want to see a little bit more of them responding, I guess, heavier, more directly to the ideas of the push, because as I said, Liquid stacks themselves and then tries to knock it all down. With a huge bout and burst of utility, they try and batter their way through whatever wall is put in front of them. You gotta try and build a sturdier wall.
Okay. So, into the dining and kitchen bomb site. Usually, this is the third pick bomb site. We usually go basement, we go kids, and then if we get to it, we go to this bomb site. So this is probably one of my most favorite bomb sites in, like, any map, Luke, is this one. Because of the shower area. I think the shower area is so fun to watch play out whenever attackers just have not got it unlocked. Because the amount of times where I've seen the defender just simply slip up the inside of the shower corridor and get 2 pieces and 3 pieces, it's insane, and it's so fun to watch.
Yeah, I think when anything's unguarded on this map, I think whenever there's that sort of moment where you're able to, I guess, slip through a certain situation and try and find anything that's potentially unguarded, Oregon can become kind of circular in some aspects.
A lot of flanks, yeah.
Yeah.
You're on the flank, and I don't mean the podcast. You know, we've seen plenty of times where flanks come in big for teams. Some teams really rely on, like, one player making flanks. They really do. I don't think Liquid are a team that relies on that, necessarily. Like I said, you know, Liquid are a team, they rely very heavily on their map control. Phoenix, on the other hand, I've seen, from so far this week, I've seen a lot of kind of, like, backstabs, where they have one man just come up behind, find, you know, 1 kill, 2 kills. I'd say a bit like we've seen Frano from Secret in the past. I think he was very much that kind of player where you look at and you know that, yeah, he's going to crouch walk and find these 2 pieces out of nowhere and really turn the tide for their team.
Luxor's doing everything they can to try and hold on to the top of the small tower. The Rotero drone swings round, as do the bodies at the same time, blinded. And Sexy Cake's able to get the lockdown, but Pixie from beneath gets the kill through the opener. Great take to the floor. Perpetually dangerous. That's that aggressive response that we want. They're able to build themselves to a trade on what was a sacrificial play just from the sheer amount of attention taken by that body inside.
This has been a perfect round so far from Phoenix. You're playing small tower, people will die. That's a guarantee. It's very similar to what we talked about on Villa inside a closet. You are placing players there to get kills, waste time, and waste utility, but more or less, they themselves will probably likely die after hopefully they've done all of that. They've come out with 3 kills, and Liquid have only got 2. Liquid are severely down on utility. They have lost nades, of course, from Palu. They've lost nomads, which they probably would have liked. You know, we just mentioned about the shower area can be very scary. You're not going to be able to stop that. You've lost Nesk, so you don't have that explosive energy of somebody pushing into the bomb site. They are now a very weakened Liquid. Phoenix, rightly so, have gave complete control to dining because they know they don't need it. They can hold this from kitchen.
Now, I know, obviously, they're 2 very different maps, but you've always got to take into consideration just how quick Phoenix have been at responding to the danger here. There's the spray around the side. PSK gets the diffuser off. In the meantime, Sexy Cake pulls off the cover. The angle's towards the opposite side. Bope goes down. There's a pickup and a clutch. I agree.
Like, what do I say to this? They've just walked in the dining. He is planted pretty much in the open. He's got a little bit of cover, but can still easily be killed. And 2 guys come... I don't know. I don't know. Can we get a replay, please? Can we see a replay of this? Because I too would like to see another little side to this. Just simply planted. And I think the key thing, Fluke, is that I think Pixie was just not in the right position to assist his other 2. He was upstairs, I think, in kids. You have to question that positioning. You have to. Because if you know the last 2 guys are in towards small tower...
Like, they're not going to drive for a plant there.
And also, they're not going to go above. But why would Liquid go above there? They don't have the utility. They don't have the time. Like, they had, what, 50 seconds left? You're not going to rotate upstairs and do a full clear.
It's just... Okay, I was about to compliment, and to be fair, okay, my compliment for Phoenix still stands, is over those past couple of rounds...
First half of the round was good. Very, very good.
And entirely that is, they got into confrontation so early. What we saw on Villa was Liquid were allowed 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes of droning out the entire map.
Yeah.
And they would drone themselves here. Look at the response that we've got from Phoenix over these past 2 rounds, is they're not letting them get that bit of play. Sure, yes. Liquid have their pre-plays, but they're not allowed to play their Liquid game.
And I think that's a great point, Flip, because now look at the response of Liquid. They've brought a Lion. You don't have to do your drone work if you can scan everyone on the map. So, quite rightly so, great point you've made. And yeah, Liquid, now they bring out their Lion. This is an operator that I think they're known for. They're not afraid to play this operator. They can play this aggressive playstyle, this explosiveness that I think Ness benefits off the information that you gain from Lion. So, yeah, it's going to be a great pickup for them.
Wow, can Fenix try and battle back against it? There
That's
it is.
what we want.
They
right there.
almost took care of Sexy Cake, took the Lion out before it could even begin to growl, removed from the board, and exactly right. That is what we want. We need to see that play. They're stopping this drone game. They're stopping this intel game. They're stopping Liquid be comfortable. Because that is when they're able to really structure themselves, pinpoint weaknesses, and punish teams for it. They just, I'm going to kind of not mix words, they threw the previous round. It really should have been theirs. They got a little bit too complacent. Here, though, they're making sure that complacency isn't sticking around. They could have responded poorly. They have not. They've made sure that they can be sharp across the board. Look at Liquid. They're a little bit stuck. They're a little bit sort of trying to pull themselves into a situation. This is maybe one of the few times we've seen them not move quickly and aggressively, and Luxor is able to punish that.
Perfect. Fenix, they've set up a kind of triangle formation in towards the trophy, the bedroom, and in towards armory. They have great coverage of each other. And they're also adding in aggressive jump outs from their smoke player, jumping out of white to try and eliminate anyone who may be repelling, anyone outside a double door, wherever it is. This is perfectly timed. They've even fell back from bedroom, and they've reinforced it up as well. Another perfect half from Fenix. Let's see if they can finish off with a better second half and win this round.
Well, Morphed is the next off the board. Sexy Cake goes for a little bit of a slip back outside as they restructure and retake the top of Armory. They're sort of a bit angled, but they're still a bit concerned right now as the approach is coming through. Fenix have some structure. They have themselves with this even body. They have 45 seconds. It seems like they want to get a little bit aggressive over the top. As I commented on before, Trophy is always still a little bit dangerous, especially when they have some of this pressure before. The jam is going to be the play. They've got to try and dig themselves underneath. The grenade does the work it needs to. The ex-Kairos are allowed to do it too.
Yeah, and now Liquid, they have 20 seconds to pull off this execute, and if they have not drummed out Bope, he is in a very dangerous position for Fenix. Paulu will try and make his way out white stairs. Is he ready for the man blow? It will be Luxor. Bope has been eliminated by PSK, and Sacing with another, but from below, Luxor has won that crucial engagement, and now PSK all by his lonesome walks in. Both players stacked up onto white, but he's out of time. Fenix respond. They hold on to that round. They done so well in that opening half to waste the time, and we can see Liquid, whenever that clock is against them, they just cannot formulate their great executes that we know them that they have.
Okay, Fenix, this is what we wanted to see. This is the good sort of product. You're putting the spanner in the works of Liquid and forcing them to not be able to play the cool, calm, collected siege that they're able to run rampant with on Villa. This is that energy, that spark of life that might bring you ever closer towards being able to battle back into this best of 3 series and take yourself over to the third map. One more round to get yourself another even split, this time with the momentum in your pockets rather than your opponents, but you're not there yet. We've seen a pull back away from the Lion. They've gone back to what they thought was going to work before. They're looking down towards the basement, which has otherwise been 2 different takes, one successful, one not so much. What are we going to see this time from Liquid?
Yeah, Liquid, be careful. I think this now new aggression from the defense from Fenix is working against Liquid extremely well. Don't know if Liquid were a little bit too comfortable, a little bit of overconfidence perhaps setting in, Luke.
It's always that risk, isn't it? It's always that, I guess, thought pattern of they are comfy, and as I said, I expect them to step up. I don't, this isn't gonna suddenly turn into the Fenix show because Fenix have started being able to do some spawn peaks and get some early aggression. Liquid aren't the team to be like, what do we do to this? They're a team to go, this is what we're suffering, what do we do to fix this? We've already seen them try a line, didn't quite work. Okay, let's keep changing things, let's keep adapting things. One more round before they head over. They're gonna step up, and that's why I sort of said, Fenix, they've got to expect that. You've got to try and stay ahead of that bell curve.
Look at Fenix on their Villa defense. Very passive, let Liquid run the show. Now they've completely, you could say they've morphed out of that phase. Couldn't you? Couldn't you, Fluke? You could say that. What one? One could say that.
One could say that.
But yeah, I think
has.
Fenix have done exactly what they need to. Don't give Liquid that freedom. Shut them down early. Eliminate that momentum. Like we said, you give Liquid just a sniff, and they're straight into it. So, yeah, always have to be careful against a team like Liquid, and Fenix are doing that extremely well at the moment. This is a big round. Fenix, I think they need this. If Liquid go 4-2, and then Liquid get that defense, looking scary for Fenix.
Wow, they're going back to their freezer control for now. They're steadily shepherding and pushing the players of Fenix back into these uncomfortable situations. They haven't gone to bite back just yet, but we've also got to compare this to how Fenix held this the first time, where they were already all the way back. They didn't even try and get aggressive up to the point that they had already slipped their way through. They've done enough to make Liquid have a bit of caution in their approach. They're trying to get their hold all the way from the top here, but it started to fall apart with the drive of Sexy Cake down. The drone ahead of them led to that opening double that otherwise started to paint a pretty depressing picture of how this might go for the Mexican side. Here, though, different hold, different style, different positionings, different results. Time will tell.
Good. Running around, opening up the hatches. Looks to be a laundry freezer take for them. So clearing out freezer should be, I think, pretty simple. You can see there's only one player behind the locker inside of freezer, which is going to be dealt with, I think, very swiftly. There's nades on the side of Liquid. They can easily rotate Palu into position. They can burn out any ADSs, any Wamai discs that may be there, and get a simple nade kill. Actually going to rotate Palu down towards main stairs, maybe looking for a deep nade in towards the corridor, perhaps. But Fenix, they've all dropped off, and dropped off, I think, very early. But then again, there is 35 seconds, and Liquid, they have to move quick. This is a difficult execute to go for, and they have to rely very, very heavily on whoever is planting a diffuser.
Well, there's the swing round. There's the first. Does not go their way, and it's back and forth. But Bope is the last one standing in a freezer fight that otherwise entirely went away from the Moringa. On the back stairs, gets one more, but it's a spray down in the middle of 2 versus 2 with less than 20 seconds left. They've really got to try and find a little bit more solidity. So they drive themselves around in the close fight, find the first, entirely blinded the second. Bope, one more, just one left to go, and he finds it, Fenix! Ring around the rosies, but Fenix is the one left flying.
I'm telling you about Bope. What did I say?
That's pretty good.
Yes, very.
He said more than that. Said he's
very impressive.
Said he's great.
He is. I think you put him in that position where his back's up against the wall, and he'll just flip over you. He really will. He'll just do, one of those cool running off the wall backflips. That's what he does.
That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Big round for Fenix. Even split now.
Okay. We can't not talk about the fact that obviously. There it is. It was so aggressive. It was so well put up. The difference there was threaded from the beginning, where the fight went towards Bope inside freezer. You can see how much it means to the team. They've clawed themselves back to even half. They were on even before. It's a different sort of turn of phrase. They took their first attack previously. If they can do that here, on their map that's away from them, on the last map, their last chance, get a seat at the Mexico Major. Well, now's the time.
Here we go. Fenix on the attack, Liquid on the defense. Liquid operator selections. I see a Legion be brought in. An operator that we don't see all too often. Mostly because there's better, I think, operators who have much more of an impact. Legion's impact on a game it's not the biggest. His gadget isn't the flashiest, but it's very helpful in many situations. I see Legion be used much more like a proximity alarm in many occasions. Where you place them on a stairway, if it goes off, then you know exactly where they are. That's going to help a lot if you're a roaming Legion. Yeah, if you're roaming, you're by yourself. You're always going to be sitting there and worrying, okay, which way is the enemy coming from? Those Legion mines are essentially your teammates. They're going to alert you to the direction that you're getting pushed in. So, in this aspect that Nesk is trying to pursue, yeah, it's going to be a strong operator.
Now, we've seen, obviously, the Liquid playing a bit of that kind of everywhere defense. They did it on Villa, where they made sure that they had a bit of a hold, a finger in every single defensive possibility in Pi. Here they're doing very much the same. They obviously have the chance to swing up and get some protection, but if it's red, there are these isolating plays and positions, they might be able to be punished sooner rather than later. Sure, all of this infrastructure is in place for the later push, but Nesk is really attributing himself inside attic here. Moringa is waiting for the swing around Zulu corridor with Palu not too far away, and here it is. Luxor is able to get that pinch from around the backside. There wasn't anyone able to really offer that support to Nesk.
Liquid losing that early engagement was something that they struggled with a little bit on Villa. Not to the extent where they were losing, a handful of rounds, but definitely a cause for caution, I think, for Liquid is, Nesk, don't get these constant opening deaths. If he's struggling on the roam game, maybe switch it up. Send Moringa out, send Palu out perhaps, and see what you can really do with a different player being up there. So, Liquid losing that first engagement gives Fenix a little bit of breathing room, and I think with a minute to go, it's a great pick to have. Looks as if they're setting up for the laundry and freezer, very similar to what Liquid went for prior. Just hope that Fenix can execute a little bit better than Liquid. Obviously, Liquid struggling just a tad in the closing final seconds, but still a good effort from them. But Fenix in a good position, have freezer, and now it's all about executing in towards that laundry.
Moringa is trying to hold in to the best of the ability. If anyone's going to be able to keep it cool, it's the man that always is waiting for this approach to come around. The C4 still in pocket. We've seen them sort of throw them and preempt the chance of a push, but as they're balancing out their utility game that was driven so well on their attack, they're a bit concerned by the grenades that are coming through on their defense. They're suffering. Sexy Cake pops around, finds the first, the C4 finds the second, and Freezer becomes theirs. That makes things very dangerous and dicey because you suddenly lose any extension or ankle hold, and it's an easy pickup from the three various angles. Liquid lock it down in the final 10.
Very difficult execute, which is the issue I feel that some teams kind of run themselves into with the laundry and freezer. It looks very appealing, just how easy you can gain freezer control. You open up the hatch inside a server, you get a couple of nades, anyone in freezer, they're gone. But it's the execute. There's no real safe way that you can, face check the corridors, face check in towards the rotations, and even challenging onto a single player inside of the closet. It's very, very difficult. It's just take your pick. That's the contrasting differences between a blue take and a laundry take is it's kind of flipped. Blue is very difficult to gain control of, but very easy to execute. You have some great cutoffs if you have control of elbow. Whereas freezer, like I said, just very easy, but then in the late stage, very difficult to execute onto.
I think that's it as well, is you put a lot of eggs in the basket of hope in that situation. You don't really offer yourself any adaptation. Sometimes what you'll see, and actually kind of commonly in other regions especially, is they'll go for a push like that, but they'll have one buddy on E-Box or one buddy trying to offer a little bit more direct counter. So when the push starts to come through, if it fails from the other side, you have this almost plan B.
Didn't we see that from Liquid? Who was it that pushed down the back in the final attack for Liquid? Didn't they have somebody push down the back?
Moringa.
Yeah. So there you go. Proves the theory
That's
that they have somebody adding a little bit of pressure, and that little bit of pressure is sometimes enough to topple everything.
That's it. And you need something. You need that little bit, because you try and strong arm your way into a site that is so directed, you lose one part of that. You lose one factor of that, and the entire thing falls apart. It's not that you can't really try and piece things together and go for a plan B or a plan C on that adaptation. Suddenly plan A has failed, and it's abort, retreat, or dive in. Let's see if we can salvage this. There's not really, from that moment, a plan apart from we've just got to try and kill everybody. And that is, sure, for some teams, plan A, go kill. Plan B, also go kill. But it's not a plan. It's a last resort, and you don't want to have that as your only option in what is a very tough site.
So Liquid moving on to their kids' defense, and already Nesk has been found once again.
Nice.
Bope, not afraid to get dirty with the opening kills, especially from a support player. Not something that you expect, but again, Nesk, another opening death. You die once, sure. You die twice, okay, but now it's like, third or fourth time where he's consistently dying first. That's not a coincidence anymore. That's consistency.
Yeah, and I think that's, one of those worries that I highlighted coming into this was a fantastic player. He's having a bit of a rough tournament so far. Hasn't quite been able to find his groove. I mean, Sexy Cake, to be fair, has had an absolutely outstanding day. so far for a player that, again, wasn't quite in their groove. Had only managed a handful of plants, which, again, when you're talking about these, you know, S-class tier players with so much history and skill behind them, an average day at the office seems worse than it is. But it's because you're so used to them
Expectations and standards.
Yeah. You're so used to them being outstanding. You're so used to them being above and beyond.
Yep.
They're waiting for the run out here, waiting for a bit of intel, waiting for the pressure and them to try and reclaim the diffuser, hoping to hear a bit of the angle. They're dicing a dangerous game, and with only 30 seconds left, it's kind of curious what the play is going to be here. They've both doubled down inside. They're pre-firing over the top there. There's Trophy still locked, but can they swing round? Parley with the cover. Another canister pops off. They slip away with the diffuser. No, they don't. They actually go for the fight on the top of White. The attempt on the knife and the bait round the corner. The grenade is about to come through now. Goes too far. The shotgun's able to move back in. Doesn't quite get the catch, though. It's Sexy Cake with the impacts. Doubles down. Drops one. Goes for the spray. Finds it!
Gotta catch them all. Sexy Cake. What a play. What a round from this man. First of all, just to give everyone just a little bit of understanding of what happened that round, because you're probably thinking, you know, why are they pushing in? Why are they holding bedroom? Why are they pushing in from the bomb site into the trophy? It's diffuser was actually picked off very, very early on inside of that round, and from there, Liquid, they decided to just solo hold the diffuser. They gave up complete control of bomb site, and they just held the diffuser as long as they could. They had an outside camera from Sexy Cake, which was able to give them information if anyone repelled up to bedroom. And from there, it was very easy. All they had to do was hold one door, and they did just that. So Liquid, like I said, you give them anything, Fluke, and they will capitalize on it. One mistake, and that's it.
Oh, it is just that moment there where you highlight him at the beginning and you say, well, this player's not been great today, but this player sure is. And then they go, oh, yeah, I am. You talk about great players. The confidence in that moment and the clarity in the game sense to put the gun down and double down with the impacts. Because it wasn't even that he just threw one. He threw one, saw the push coming from Trophy, and then opted to throw the second. Like, immediately. He had his plan, his idea, and it worked. And just great to see. As a non-biased fan of the game, that is one of those moments that just, when you're seeing a player like that play, it's like, oh yeah, this is.
It is good that neither one of us are casting, you know, teams that we'd be biased towards. I mean, I'm not biased, of course I'm not. So I don't know where people get that illusion from.
Not in this region.
No. I mean, I'm a bit of a favourite to the old Team 1, to be fair.
This is the point where you're supposed to say, no, I'm not.
Oh, sorry. Oh dear.
You've only got and done it.
Hopefully I'm not casting Team 1 tomorrow.
Let's find out. Fenix. 5-3. Liquid have been able to, yet again on the turn of the half, put down a doubling of rounds, put themselves 2 rounds ahead. That gap has unfortunately grown a little bit wider, but you were more successful in your attacks here. You're pushing their tertiary site. You're seeing if you can get a bit of a lockdown, but they're still fully extended. They're happy to have a bit of a looser hold here on Attic. The pressure comes towards Nesk, who actually finds success, doubles down, goes for the triple! Made up for a couple of early deaths the past 2 rounds. Almost killed Parley there, but he lets him live.
Outrageous. Outrageous behavior from Nesk. It's that simple. It is that simple for this man to do that. Fenix, more or less, have just, this round's pretty much chucked. Unless Luxor can pull off the best play of his career, this is going to be a 6-3-2 Liquid. You can see everyone Liquid are charging at him, Fluke. Everyone wants this man dead, and he will find him dead. A flawless round for Liquid. But yeah, that round was over as quick as you could blink.
I think, okay, and then we talk about Nesk being able to punish them in that situation. I think one of the things that we saw on Villa that we said was Liquid was struggling to work out where the start of the push was coming from Fenix. They were struggling to sort of piece together, okay, this is who the first engagement's going to be. This is where it's going to be happening, and this is why. because they were everywhere. Here, Nesk has consistently been in the opening engagement, which shows they're a lot more aware of the game that's being played here, but it's working against them.
I mean, Nesk just utter talent. The fact that he can do that is just incredible. You know, you think of Brazil and the best player in Brazil, it's Nesk. It is. You can't argue against that. Nesk has been the best product of the system, and yeah, just every time I watch him, he just does something more insane. And you usually think like Nesk is fairly old in terms of, you know, competitive average age.
Player.
But it seems to be he's getting better as time goes on. You know?
Yeah. I mean, it's a classic player. It's again, if we're going to talk about Sexcake being a joy to watch, so is Nesk. But then, who isn't on this Liquid team? Mm-hmm. It's a team of greats. It's a team of names that are tied so intrinsically with Siege Esports, with Siege as a game, with Siege as a competitive thing. Not only as representatives of the region, but of the game itself. Is, if you want people to sort of get into the game that have never watched any esports, regardless of where they're from, you could say, well, watch Sexcake play, watch Nesk play, watch Parley play, watch any of them play. And you're like, oh yeah, these guys are pretty good.
Yeah. I think that's an understatement as well. Just
yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Liquid. The pressure being applied in towards tower and a nade. Will be tossed at PSK, but just a bit of shrapnel takes chip damage, but quick enough moves off. Palu. Opening death for him as the kill goes in favor of Fenix. We're seeing this roam game towards kids, and it is always strange for me personally to see, you know, kind of kids roam on a basement. Because for me, it feels like kids is like very far away from like if someone's going for a blue take.
This is what I sort of talked about before, where if there's anything that I've seen as a bit of a change on this map, is an extension where they have E-Box open, they'll sort of play a little bit wider. You don't see it this dedicated, this far out, but it's Team Liquid on match point.
That's like to what you're describing with the whole meeting hold where you reinforce and open up hatch. That's like doing that, but extreme. You know, it's
yeah. It's doing that and then going, but also, why don't we hold even further? Moringa went for a really ballsy C4 there. Luxor's there to sort of punish them. Nesk is able to fill that mantle and replace. Palu's gone in the meantime. PSK is trying to keep the pressure on the back stairs behind the pillar, but the rotation is concernably cut off by, I believe, E-Box being open at this point. They're instead going to see if they can dance a bit dangerously. Pre-fires through the barricade, almost massively rewarded for it.
PSK gets baited out by the Iana clone, and that's great information to gain. They know exactly where PSK is, and he's between a rock and a hard place. That is not a favorable position for him. Sexy Cake all left by himself to hold down that laundry take. Ness trying to assist in towards Freezer. Sexy Cake now rotates over, and Liquid, they cannot sit safe. There is great pressure being applied from, obviously, these back stairs in towards Blue, in towards Freezer, and Liquid spread themselves very, very thin. PSK with a great swing eliminates Zig and runs straight up the staircase to try and apply pressure towards Freezer. Boat will find one, and Pixie eliminates PSK, and now Nesk has to go huge. Finds one kill, but 3 more to find. Into Blue they go. A quick swing from Pillar. Nesk, can you win that? Yes, you can. Takes a bit of damage, but this is certainly winnable. Nomad charges will be deployed. Nesk, that's an easy one for him to get rid of, but just holds it, waits for it, and peeks it now, and that's going to be a fuser stopped. Bope has been down, and Nesk, oh my word! Phenomenal from Nesk. The Terminator is revitalized. Liquid stomped their way past Oregon, secure their spot into the major. Liquid untouchable in Oregon.
7 kills, 2 rounds. Hey friend, imaginary friend we made up earlier who's never watched Siege before. You want to watch a world-class player? Yeah. What an end to a map. Twice Liquid found their pace. Twice they locked themselves in the second half of those maps. One more team added to the Mexico Major. One more flag. It's going to be waved with that standard and familiar Brazilian etch on it, but what a team.
Liquid Game to play, as expected. Big moments, the big players step up, and that's exactly what's just happened with Ness. So, yeah, Liquid into the major they go.